Hello everyone and welcome to the final one of our class reviews for Rise of the Shadows. We are going to be reviewing Warrior now. Warrior is, for all of these reviews we're going to be rating cards on a 1 to 5 scale. You can find details on the scale in the description in the YouTube video if you're watching there, or you can check back to the Neutrals VOD and watch from the beginning where we discussed the methodology for the rating system. Basically 1 is trash and bad, 5 is meta-defining, and all the other ratings are somewhere in between. And then we might also give tech card ratings, which are related to specialist formats where you might tech these cards in from your sideboard in certain matchups, and they might see play there, but probably not necessarily on ladder. So, Warrior. Before we go forward with reviewing these Warrior cards, it's very important to remember that not only is Blastmaster Boom going to be in Standard, Dr. Boom is still going to be in Standard. And I think that's the big card that pushes Warrior to being a relevant class. And we need to consider that when we consider all of these other cards going forward, as there's also quite a lot of mechs. So let's start off with the other Boom that's going to confuse everyone in Standard, Blastmaster Boom. Blastmaster Boom is a 7-mana 7/7 legendary minion. Sound familiar? With Battle Cry, summon 2 1/1 boom bots. Sounds even more familiar. But this is for each bomb in your opponent's deck. So no bombs, no boom bots. 1 bomb, 2 boom bots. 2 bombs, 4 boom bots. And then at 3 bombs, you're basically capping out because 6 boom bots is a full board anyway. And so I think that Blastmaster Boom looks really interesting, has a lot of promise. I think that the key thing for me when analyzing this card is if I believe that this is just Dr. Boom, the original one, OG Boom reincarnate, then I have to ask the question of, is OG Boom reincarnate good in Warrior? And my answer is probably no. And so that makes me think that Blastmaster Boom is just not worth it. The bomb payoffs are just not worth it. And even if I expect to always get 2 bombs, it's not going to be that good. Now, the one caveat is Dr. Boom, the hero card, giving all your mechs rush. The boom bots are mechs, so the boom bots can be a lot more impactful on the board. This means Blastmaster Boom is better when you have, the OG Boom and Blastmaster Boom are both better when you are Dr. Boom the hero. Shocker, Dr. Boom makes Blastmaster Boom better. And okay, I'm getting really, all the booms are a bit much already, and we're only on the first card of this Warrior review. But really what I'm getting at here is this card is a lot better after you play your other 7-mana card. That's also a legendary. You need to find that 7-mana legendary card, and then you need to play it in a spot where you have the ability to play a card that has no impact on the board. Then you need to find time to play your Blastmaster Boom, and in all this time in between, you also still need to get bombs in your opponent's deck in order to make Blastmaster Boom good. So I think that overall Blastmaster Boom is just going to be a 2 for me. I think it's really just a Fringe card. I'm not sure the bomb mechanics are that good. It could form part of a sideboard for Warrior, where against decks that draw very quickly, or just other decks where you want to have the bombs in your opponent's deck to be more aggressive. But that's mostly for the other bomb cards and not necessarily Blastmaster Boom. So I think Blastmaster Boom is just going to get a 2 from me. Next up, we have the Boom Reaver. The Boom Reaver is a 10-mana 7/9 legendary mech with Battle Cry. Summon a copy of a minion in your deck, give it rush. So once again, if we consider Dr. Boom giving this rush, then a 10-mana 7/9 with rush that summons another minion with rush from your deck is good. Once again, summons a copy, so it doesn't have to pull the minion out of your deck, so you can keep abusing that minion in your deck for these type of big effects. I think that Big Warrior is just not a thing, though. I don't really see that many payoffs. I don't see that many ways to cheat out minions. You're not really cheating anything out by paying it on turn 10. This is essentially just a tempo play on 10 mana. 10 mana tempo plays are not really the type of thing you want. So I think I'm going to give Boom Reaver a 1. I think this card is just unplayable. We will see this in occasionally from cards like Omega Assembly or the Dr. Boom Hero Power disc that discovers a mech. But I don't think we're going to be purposefully putting Boom Reaver in our deck unless we can figure out a way to make some really scary big warrior deck. And I'm not sure I see that. Next up, we have Omega Devastator. Omega Devastator is a 4-mana, 4/5 epic mech minion. It has Battle Cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, deal 10 damage to a minion. So it's essentially, if you have 10 mana crystals, it's like a Vilespine Slayer that you don't have to combo. And that sounds insane. But you have to remember Vilespine Slayer is almost never played on 10 mana crystals. And you know, being particularly that relevant. So Omega Devastator, a lot of the time, is really just a 4-mana, 4/5. And sometimes that's okay in the early game for it to really just be a 4-mana, 4/5 if you want to contest the board. Sometimes you're going to get more out of playing it then than waiting. I do find it very funny that they reused the art that they kind of showed us in Boomsday. And then everyone was like, wait, this minion's not a mech. Why is it in like a mech suit? And yeah, that was the Omega Defender, if I remember. And why was it like obliterating everyone? Neither of those things made sense. But it makes much more sense here in Omega Devastator. And I like how they kind of went back and used that art. It's kind of like a meme almost, memeing the community on it. And I think that's quite cool. I think Omega Devastator is a pretty good card though. Out of your Omega Assemblies, it's insane, especially when you play them on turn 10, because it means you can actually play it immediately and get the effect. The mech is often going to have Rush in those scenarios because of Dr. Boom. So I think Omega Devastator is a pretty good card. I can only really give it a 3 though. I don't think it does enough to push the archetype, but it really does make me more interested in playing the mech archetype. And I think Mech Warrior is going to be one of the other viable options other than the more straight up control warriors, because there's quite a lot more mechs now, and really that's what we needed. I don't think we had a critical mass of mechs to make the magnetic Mech Warrior stuff good enough. And Omega Devastator is a good body to magnetize onto, even if you play it on turn 4 as well. Next up, we have Wrench Caliber. Wrench Caliber is a 4-mana 3/2 weapon. After your hero attacks, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. So this is one of the ways to get bombs for Blastmaster Boom. I don't really think that this card is particularly good. 4-mana 3/2 weapon with no real way to fetch it anymore. Forge of Souls, I think, rotates out. It's going to be pretty unreliable. Obviously, you can attack with this the same turn you play Blastmaster Boom to guarantee at least 2 Boombots. That's one of the nice caveats to this card, but you are just attacking with a 3/2 weapon then. So the turn you play this, you're not really gaining much tempo advantage, and when you attack with it, you're not really doing that much either. So I'm just not really convinced we want to actually put Wrench Caliber in our deck, even if we want to play Blastmaster Boom. But once again, maybe as part of a Boom tech package, a Boombot tech package, a bomb tech package, I suppose that's really more what it is, maybe in that kind of scenario. So Wrench Caliber, like if you do all these bomb effects against Rogue after Myra's Unstable Element is played, you basically are going to kill them, and that's the interesting tech time to do the bombs. You could also do it before as well and have a pretty decent chance to deal a lot of damage to them when they play Myra's. And that's the best tech application of these bombs, by the way, which is why I'm saying that whilst this is probably more of a tech card than anything else, I'm going to still give it a 2. Next up, we have Dimensional Ripper. Dimensional Ripper is a 10-mana rare spell. Summon 2 copies of a minion in your deck. So once again, this is kind of the big warrior thing. The problem is, once again, 10 mana. So you're not getting a discount on whatever you get out. You're getting a discount in the sense that you get 2 copies of it, sure. But 10 mana to get 2 copies of 2 10/10 minions is not even necessarily that exciting, because you're losing any battle cries on them. They have to have, like, you know, your Sarah type effects where you get the value from them immediately that turn, or they need to have like taunt or be something scary like that in order to stick around. So overall, I think Dimensional Ripper, if I'm giving the mech dude a 1, I'm going to have to give Dimensional Ripper a 1, as this just seems worse. Next up, we have Clockwork Goblin. Clockwork Goblin is a 3-mana 3/3 mech. It is a rare, and it reads Battle Cry. Shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. When drawn, it explodes for 5 damage. So, this is an explanation, finally, on what the bombs are, by the way. They explode for 5 damage when drawn. It's interesting that they only explained it on Clockwork Goblin. I'm sure there was space to explain it on Range Caliban, not on Blastmaster Boom, though. So, 3-mana 3/3 is not particularly exciting. It's a mech, though, so it's a target for magnetic effects. A 3-mana 3/3 that shuffles bombs into your opponent's deck can be useful as a tech card. This might be the best of the tech card bomb generating options. But mostly I think it's the important part is just really that it's a mech. And I'm going to say it might see a bit of Fringe play as a result. Just not really convinced the bomb package is good enough once again. So I'm going to give it a 2. Sweeping Strike. Sweeping Strike's a 2-mana rare spell. Give a minion. Also damages minions next to whomever this attacks. So basically the kind of like cleave type effect that we've talked about. Now this can be very good if you're a deck that has minions on the board and you want to push your tempo. That's kind of what this does, right? This is a tempo win more card. Once you have the tempo, once you have the initiative, you can push your advantage. And that means you, instead of having to trade with a bunch of minions, you can go face with the other ones that you might have had to otherwise trade with. So I think that this card is not bad if that kind of deck is a thing. I'm just not really sure that deck is a thing. So I'm going to have to give Sweeping Strikes a 1 because I kind of think it's unplayable because it's the deck just doesn't exist for it. Next we have Dr. Boom Scheme. Dr. Boom Scheme is a 4-mana common spell, gain 1 armor, upgrades each turn. And the picture is a bunch of bombs, which is very weird. I heard, I think it was on Fino or Ball Control stream when they were reviewing, and I watched a bit of that. They were talking about like how the art just doesn't make any sense for the card, as if the art used to, or the card used to actually shuffle bombs into your deck, which would make more sense, as I feel like there's not enough bomb shuffling cards for the whole bomb thing to work. And like they changed it last minute because shuffling like 10 bombs into a deck would be OP with Dr. Boom's Scheme. And I mean, the thing is, we're actually like sitting here and talking about what the card could have been, and that's a clear indicator that this card is not very good. Dr. Boom Scheme is just a straight up 1. I don't care if it's like 4 mana for 10 armor. That's already still worse than Branching Paths. And like, Branching Paths was good because of its versatility, not because it could gain you 12 armor. So, yeah, Dr. Boom Scheme is going to have to be a 1 from me. I don't really want to play this in any decks. If I draw it late, it is super garbage. Next we have Vicious Scrap Hound. Vicious Scrap Hound is a 2-mana 2/2 mech. It's a common, and it reads, whenever this minion deals damage, gain that much armor. Obviously, 2-mana 2/2 is quite understated. It's got the mech tag, so it helps be more of an option for magnetic decks. It's another thing that you can get off the Omega Assembly or the Dr. Boom Discover, which are relevant. I really like the text on this card, gaining damage equal to the armor you deal. We've seen it before on that 5-mana 2/7. Forgot its name now. But Vicious Scrap Hound is, I think, a pretty decent card. I actually think for the mech decks, it's going to be something that we see in and out of those decks. So I'm going to give it a 3. Realistically, it probably doesn't deserve that higher rating, actually. But if we can play this on tempo in a slower meta where our opponents are not also trying to get on the board very fast in the first 2 turns, then we can actually stick some magnetic stuff to this, and that's when it can be really good. And in the more tempo-based mirrors, this does give you a little bit of health, so that's not so bad, but it's not as good as actually just like a 2-mana 2/3 would often be better in tempo-based mirrors. And I think that's the big failing of Vicious Scrap Hound. This is a card you sideboard out if it's in your main deck when you're actually playing those kind of matchups. And then finally, we have Improve Morale. Improve Morale is a 1-mana spell. It's common, and it reads deal 1 damage to a minion. If it survives, add a lackey to your hand. So this is the warrior way to generate lackeys. There's no real payoff for lackeys in warrior. So I don't really see why we want to play this card. I mean, 1 mana to deal 1 damage can activate Execute or Smolderthorn Lancer if we're playing a dragon warrior deck. And that's not so bad. Lackeys are just okay, I suppose, in that deck. If we need a way to just activate those cards, it's okay. But most of the time, I don't think the effect is really that good. Ping to get a lackey, it sounds like a very good effect. I'm just not really sure what kind of decks we actually want to put this in Constructed. I don't know, maybe we could play this with like an Acolyte of Pain and ping our own Acolyte or something in a control deck, draws us a card immediately, and we get the lackey too. I don't know. I'm not that convinced on Improved Morale. I think I'm going to give it a 2 though. It's not a bad card. I just think it might see Fringe play at best because it doesn't necessarily have the right home once again. Okay, so that's all the warrior cards. Overall, I think warrior's in a good position because of Dr. Boom still. I think that we can see a reasonable control warrior deck, whether that be with dragons still, because the dragon resource generation stuff is probably better than the mech resource generation stuff, or whether we still want to lean into the mech stuff because we have Dr. Boom, or whether the control deck is kind of a vague mixture, and then we still play Dr. Boom, maybe Omega Assembly, but then we just play all the dragon stuff because Ember Scale Drake is good card still. Yeah, I think that warrior will be fine. I think what could be most interesting is the Rush Warrior, whether we finally see that getting its day in the sun, because a lot of the other insane things from Ungoro, Knights of the Frozen Throne, and Kobolds and Catacombs are leaving the meta, and maybe that leaves some space for Rush Warrior to be relevant, especially if a lot of these kind of Zooey type decks that I'm talking about and a lot of the other classes are relevant. I think we could see a return of some kind of Rush Warrior deck. So I think overall, Warrior is fairly decent. I think it'll be towards the mid-lower pack of the classes, but definitely going to be a tech option for, or it's definitely going to be an option for control decks or control players that wants to kind of fall back into a more classical control warrior style that doesn't, just abuse the Baku hero power from turn 2. So yeah, that's all we have for all of the Rise of the Shadows reviews now. So a big thanks to everyone that's stuck with for all the way. A big shout out to Fodas for that, in particular on Twitch. And thank you to everyone that's also shared and liked and subscribed on YouTube. Comments as well, all very well appreciated there. That's where you can get in touch if you disagree with anything I've said, or if you've been able to try these out in the pre-release events this weekend and you've got some differing opinions based on what the experiences you have. I haven't played with any of these cards, not even Archmage of Argoth yet, because we've been recording since Archmage of Argoth came out and haven't had much chance to play with him. So thanks a lot everyone for tuning in to all of these videos. I look forward to the expansion. We're going to be live on Twitch for the launch and much of the first couple of weeks, especially of the expansion. I'm going to try to get back to a much more regular streaming schedule. So make sure you check me out there as well. Dib_gaming on Twitch as well, and give me a follow. And we can chat when the expansion is live. We can share decks and see exactly what we can brew up. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in once again. And I hope you enjoyed all the reviews. Cheerio.